What's up, everybody? Back for another one. Definitely just realized that I probably need to get a desk lamp replacement because I broke mine a couple of weeks ago, and I just never got around to getting one. I usually study in the daytime anyway, and I kind of like the low light, a little bit vamp light. And I'm just hanging. Hit the gym, did legs. Very, very happy with the progress. And going to continue to do my readings for the Renaissance Lit class. Still reading Parable of the Sower right now. After that's done, a couple of articles on those, take my notes on those. And then I think I'm going to do some conference research as well. It's definitely an idea in my... It's always a constant thing, you know. What are the things you need to do in order to propel yourself as a current scholar, future professional, I guess academic. I don't know if I think I'm professional right now. I'm going pro. As a future professional academic, what are the things I can do to make myself more, to increase my sphere of learning? And one of those things is definitely going to conferences. It's something that I have always, when I hear that, I've never really thought about it deeply in terms of, the opportunities to meet people, converse, discuss ideas. I think a younger version of me looked at those kind of things as douchey, and perhaps there's an element of that that's definitely that can be potentially there. But that's good. Turn the brightness up. That could be potentially there, but I think that it's really important for me to. I mean, obviously it's very important for me, but I think also the additional important layer is that pushes me out of my comfort zone. I'm pretty comfortable with people, but I think it's important for me to learn how to reach out to these things, because I don't really know. I know conferences just you reach out to people, and if they like your idea, they say yes, you present on it. It's basically submissions for open mics kind of situation with a lot more emphasis on the quality of ideas that you're bringing up. But I think that it's kind of similar also in that, you go up, you do a few minutes comedy and it doesn't work out. That's not good. But if you have a chance to do it in front of comedians, or at least show what your act's going to be about to comedians beforehand, and kind of get notes on it, and are able to have time to prepare, and it's also in a context where you've done a lot more. It's a little bit more. I think the conferences are very thematically run, as well as area of studies focused. So it helps to give you an idea of what you're going in there with, as opposed to an open mic where you're just going in just fresh-faced and ready for slaughter. Which is not to say that I don't think it's going to be an intense experience, emotionally speaking, and also the prep itself. It might be you're just talking about ideas in front of people. It's yeah, well, you go fucking do it. You know what I mean? If it was so easy, one of those things. But yeah, definitely looking forward to it. I don't know. So let's get into our readings for this evening, and thank you so much for joining if you are here, and if you're not here, thank you for doing whatever it is that you're doing that doesn't let you be here, or even if you don't want to be here and so you don't, that's cool too. I'm really happy for whatever it is that you're doing, and I wish you all the best. Okay, let's go. Lost my place. I think I was Where the fuck? This is why you should never ever close your tabs. A habit I am trying to get out of. Where the fuck was I at? Okay. Read this. So I read this. Excuse me. Jax, get over here. Come here, bud. Oh. He's just hanging out.
falling in love.
Okay, so I am 70 of 330 pages. I'm 77 of 330 something PDF pages through Parable of the Sower right now. It's a good book. I'm kind of not understanding like how to place the visual of it. It's very like Last of Us meets like The Wire meets Dune. For sure, the young female character who is writing the who is narrating the text is the progenitor of the religious what is the word excerpts that start each chapter, because as she goes through and she's thinking to herself about religion and shit, it's kind of interesting. Like the way she's talking about it is kind of expanding an idea of God into a manner that can be utilized by like a spacefaring race. In that way, very similar to Dune, in the whole, in the Bene Gesserit create and a substructure, religious substructure, stories that they can use to their benefit when they go to seed new planets with their, they can basically implant themselves an ideology and then take over the political and economic social forces that they need to in order to like keep their Kwisatz Haderach project like going still. And with this, it's definitely got that. It smacks of that same kind of like religion building, and it's interesting because Paul Atreides was not raised in this faith or story, and so to him it's all new, and people are writing about him as from the viewpoint of seeing him as a prophet thousands of years after he is not alive. And so he's like mythologized while we're being presented with his flawed character and his trajectory unfolding. So we know some things about him, that he becomes this like the dramatic irony interplay between what we know of the main character, what the main character doesn't know about themselves, is very interesting. And the fact that still manages to create like secrecy and confusion around the like where the story is going is pretty sick. I fucks with it P heavy. Where am I at right now? I got like 2 minutes left in my break, and yeah, just drinking, chilling. My fiance is at a chemistry course right now. She is working on her prerequisites to complete the prerequisites before studying for the MCAT, before applying to medical school. And she's like, man, that class, like I can't even imagine doing a fucking science, bro. Like that is just so not for me. I tried a fucking chemistry class. I mean, I did it in high school, and I tried a chem class when I was in my undergrad, because I thought, oh yeah, I'm gonna be like a pharmacy, I'm gonna get a PharmD, and I'm also going to be get an English degree, and that way I can just like on the, I don't even know what the fuck I was thinking. It was such a fucking dumb idea, because I went into one chemistry class at the community college in my town, and I was just like, this is horrible. This is just like, this is not for me. That black tabletop shit that they got going on, that shit is not good for anything to me except drawing with the eraser end of your pencil. Like, that's fucking it. No way do I ever want to be in like a lab or something. God, dude, fucking kill me. No. Shout out to anybody who does enjoy that. I think that's awesome. And I think that, it wouldn't be a far stretch from the truth to say that you probably wouldn't want to do what I do either. Just, seminars, reading, writing, talking about these ideas and shit. And that can seem like a lot of intellectual masturbation and stuff. And, I'm not going to lie to you, it definitely can do that sometimes. But in the same way, with STEM fields, like there's like, there's always these opportunities to interestingly interact with information that you can see, helps you understand the patterns and regularities of the world around you, within you. I think that's really cool, but also tends to be a little, just like exact same thing, intellectual masturbation, a lot of like grandstanding and a lot of like, oh, I'm sick, all right, like, but it's like, and that's I'm just talking about like the potential for the worst version. The best versions of those things are exactly what I feel like most of us are going for, and I mean, I love science, but I'm one of those people who's like, how do you know? You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm not a flat earther, but I understand conceptually where that mind state comes from, because it's like the discussion of, how can you know? The philosophy of science is very different from the application of science. A philosophy of science doesn't, consider any scientific fact higher than a hypothesis, and on a long enough timeline, anything could change to the degree that it's not incidental, but, inherent or considered inherent. Shit like that gets super weird when you're talking about things, there's lots of stuff that people kind of have a hard time working their way through the weeds when it comes to either looking at things as like a unity, as like a one, or looking at things as a binary, as a two. And I think that's one of the reasons I'm so interested in non-duality, is because I don't see like they are, I don't think that they're separate from each other. I don't think they're the same thing, but I don't think they're separate the way that like my hands aren't separate from my body right now. There might be, they are separate to it within a spectrum of thinking, and they're also not separate within a spectrum of thinking. And being able to hold those spectrums together is definitely a hard thing to do. So yeah, I'm into the text. Let's get back to it. And one for the run, one for the two for the wait, one for the wait. God damn it! What's the cool runnings thing? Feel the rhythm, feel the rhyme. Get on up. It's reading time. Jax, why are you being weird? Okay. Come here, bud. Come here. Boy, have a seat. doing that? Did I miss something? Oh, yeah. Oh, cool. It fixed itself. That's weird. All right, so I'm at what, page 103 pages into the PDF. I don't know where this shit is going. Is it like The Village? Like outside this girl's cul-de-sac wall shit with all these robbers and reavers and shit? Like, I'm not really sure what happened to the planet or what's going on, or if that's just like the case. I don't know if it's like an extinction event, if it's just like the world at in this fictional time is just like this. Like, things have just gone so to shit. There's clearly a government in place. That government requires, it's basically made like a much harder line than today, or maybe it's reminiscent of exactly what's going on. Like, if this is published in 93 and 93 crime bill was being signed, it makes me think about how like our own government like really creates these difficult to surmount bureaucratic and otherwise, and bureaucratic leading to like socioeconomic kind of barriers to entry for movement out of socioeconomic class. Like, the idea is purported that you can move out, like the potential is there, but the gravity to achieve that potential, depending on where you're at in life, is very, very different. That's kind of like the complicated part about it. And I'm just trying to figure out like what exactly happened to the world. It feels very much just like a really bad town that could probably exist today. And there's a lot of fear from outsiders. It reminds me a lot of like The Last of Us, like Bill living in that town with enough supplies in his one house for one person, but because there's like a community of people in this place, they're trying to keep like figuring out what to do. I'm not sure where this goes, if there's going to be some kind of, I feel like one of the things that speculative fiction does really well is surprise you with like much better twists than a M. Night Shyamalan movie. And I'm curious to see where this goes. Where am I at? 2.5 minutes. Yeah. Oh, excuse me. My bad. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna keep reading because no, I'm gonna do something else. I'm just gonna check out some conferences and shit. So there's like a grip of things coming up. I mean, there's always something. I have a link to this call for papers. It's at call-for-papers.sas.upenn.edu/category/all. And so I'm just looking at all the available conferences here, and I'll probably look through by area as well and see which ones I could apply to this quarter, and then just see how that goes. I mean, I'm definitely, I'm nervous. I don't know. I've never done this before, but it's definitely an important part of the career path. So I'm interested in a lot of different things. I think narrowing it down would be the important thing. I don't want to burn myself out too much, because for all of these you need to like provide supporting manuscripts. So like I could have like an idea, and then I could submit the idea as an abstract, and then if it gets accepted, then there's like a certain amount of time I have to produce the manuscript for that idea. So let's say I have an idea about a particular paper topic, and I write the abstract. That's maybe like a couple hundred words, maybe like 300 tops. 300. I think 500 is pushing the fuck out of it. I'm not sure. It depends on the conference, right? And so I do that. I submit that. They say, yeah, that's dope. So anytime from like a week from the due date of when I me turning in the conference proposal, there's like a due date for when they accept proposals until. So, there are varying due dates. It could be like a week from now. It could be like 2 months from now. There's all kinds of different conferences that are out there. So let's say I have the conference date set, whether it's like, let's say it's like the soonest version a week from now, versus like a longer version like April. Well, I don't know when the that would what would depend on like submission would also depend on like how quickly I would be able to turn around a fresh research project for the purposes of that conference presentation within like the time frame that is like they might give me a different due date, like the due date for conference proposals, the date of the presentation, and the date of the manuscript being having to be turned in could all vary, and they could vary greatly. So that's why I want to do research to figure out what are the ones that I'd be most interested in, that I feel have like my interests line up the most with potential to be received well, and then also how does that line up with like the date the manuscript has to be turned in, because I have shit to write for my seminars also during this whole process, and then maybe I have to travel to like go somewhere in order to do it. So there's that too. So we'll see. It's definitely a good time though. Okay, let's go back to the book. Jax, what are you doing? Get back here. Guys, what's going on? What's going on, guys? Come here. I don't. I don't know what's going on. It's kind of fucked up. Main character's brother just got burned to death. I get there's a drug out there that makes people want to start fires, and the fires are better than fucking. It's basically like not heroin, but like arson becomes the manifestation of their like shooting up. So it's interesting. Like why there's a lot of things that are just like flowing around in my mind. So I'm just gonna say things. Fire, people being addicted to fire starting instead of drugs. Is that some kind of? Is that just they set fire to things? What does that mean? Like addiction in itself is a like maybe it's one of those things that's like addiction hurts so much. It has so many rippling effects that like making it akin to something like flames or fire starting kind of shows the more like adds like a physically torturous element to the idea of addiction, which, and like by making it so, it kind of makes it more corporeal to like try to touch, and it's, you know, I don't know, heat, burning, like heating up shit on a spoon or something. I don't know, something about fire and addiction. The main character feels, she doesn't feel sad when her brother dies. He got married, he got, so where my brain's at. He got burned and like repeatedly burned and cauterized, and like peeled, skin peeled, burned, cauterized, skin peeled, burned, cauterized, and they found his body, and but like he had such a strange relationship with like her father, and the stepmom is like, you know, doesn't like the main character. You know, the kid that dies is her favorite. He looks just like his dad, but he fucking hates his dad. They, you know, he beats the dad beats the shit out of him one time that is like notable in the text, and it's like changes the entire fabric of their family dynamic, and it's just interesting. And then he's also like a sociopath. He also talks about how like when he left home and he goes out to the outside world that they're not supposed to go to. He like meets a dude from Alaska that he just starts talking to and shit. The guy had like a fuckload of money, like 23 grand or something like that, in this post-apocalyptic world, and but it's not post-apocalyptic. You can still buy shit, I guess. It's just dark times, and there's 23 grand in the dude's pack, and he kills the dude, and he tells the sister, and he's like, yeah, I didn't really feel anything after I did it. So the dude's like, the main character, who is hyper empathetic, categorizes that brother as being like one of the most sociopathic person that she'd ever met, and he probably would, and admits that he probably would have turned into a fucking monster if he had been allowed to grow up. Which is not to say that she wishes that evil on him. She would never wish that on anybody. And that keeps coming back to my non-duality conversation, because I feel like what she's talking about with like the Earthseed text is very much like a reiteration of Advaita Vedanta philosophy, and it's like OG Hinduism. The idea of like pure witness consciousness, non-dualism, you know, recognizing that things are not separate, but that they're also not one thing. It becomes, you know, a lot of what she's saying in these Earthseed excerpts is talking about everything is always change. Like, you are the thing that changes. I thought about this a lot, about how, like, you know, if I'm me at 5 years old, 15 years old, 25, 35, 45, all the way up to like whatever, 95, 105 years old, there occurs so much change over each of those decade spans, let alone like the second to second, moment to moment, on any kind of scaling perspective. You can basically have a sliding scale of perspective where you can see all the decisions playing out, and truth kind of exists within the sliding scale that you happen to be at one time. But what if you were able to see all the sliding scales at the same time? And that would give you like just like hyper empathy that I think the character has, which is the ability to intuitively understand where, like deeply understand where people are coming from. And if you could do that, you wouldn't hurt people. You would do your very best to try and understand people. That's not to say that you wouldn't have a reason to hurt people. It's just that if you did, you would have to carry that with you for real, or be destroyed by it. And I feel like, as it says in the text, and I feel like a lot of people, they're just like, they more like figure out workarounds rather than like really sitting with the depth of it. This is what I think Attack on Titan does really well, is like, Eren is the main character up until he's not the main character, and then he becomes like, then we kind of fall back into his point of view, and then we fall kind of back in and out of it. But like, he becomes the great evil we just hyper empathize with even the greatest evil, not to the point that we don't think Mikasa should not kill him. That dude needs to die, but we understand like so profoundly in a way that like the same way the characters understand that they're like, yo, this needs to end, and even though the cycle starts back up again, like when you have those, when you do what you can for those reprieves, those historical reprieves, it's like those what they call peace. It's just like moments where empathy are like the most felt, and then shit turns into fucking fuck shit anyway. You know, too much peace leads to all this crazy shit. Too much war, crazy shit. That like sweet spot where everything feels okay. It's like it's hard to live in that place. So, all right, let's get back to it. Oh shit, I went to canvas. Hello? Hello? Hey. Just leaving instead. All right, so sorry about, what am I sorry about? Had to take a call from the future missus, and I'm gonna heat up lasagna now because it's time to eat. She had a long day of class, and I'm really enjoying this book. I mean, I'm like more than halfway through now, and it's very interesting, so I'm ripping through it pretty quick. And just like there's like two articles to read on top of this. I've completed the majority of my reading for this week. It's slowed down a little bit, so I've completed the majority of the reading between, the end of last seminar Thursday. So I didn't start till like Friday. I usually don't do anything the day after, like the evening of seminars. It's just like chill, like give your mind a rest. But then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and now Tuesday has been more than enough time to complete the readings up until for all of my medieval class, and then this week we have considerably less in the Renaissance class. We usually get like a fuck ton of readings, but I enjoy those too. I'm just gonna keep reading this book probably after we finish dinner. Probably gonna watch The Wire and then go to bed. The title of today's episode is, honestly, I'm so high I don't remember what the title of the episode was, but I do know what the inspiration from it was, and it's the idea of, it comes from a quote from Cowboy Bebop. The thumbnail for this video is Spike Spiegel smoking a cigarette, and the quote is like, is this a dream, basically, more or less. Let me see what the actual quote was, because I have, damn, my computer's moving heller slow. So I'm watching a dream I'll never wake up from. I love that, because that's really what all of this feels like. All of this learning, I feel like it's especially in coming into contact with this text, like I used to feel the same kind of way that this character used to, like have these deep kind of conversations with myself about the world and what I thought about God and what I thought about the universe and meaning in the universe, and trying to create a thought process that allowed me to think in that way. And then when my dad left when I was 11, I feel like a lot of that shit, I used to tell myself to try not to get far away from that person that I was, to remember that I am me even when I change. And it's like trying to tell yourself to remember a dream that you're slowly waking up from. It's like you try so hard to hold on to who you are, but it's tough as emotions, hormonal and more esoteric, more abstract, come into play, and life just happens to you. You have no fucking idea what you're doing. You're just holding on, and then one day you get to a place, hopefully, if you're lucky, that you can just chill for a second and look around, and you realize, like, okay, like I am still connected to that person. And I used to think I wasn't connected to that person, but I think I was just going through dark times in my own, narrative, in an abstract sense, not in the sense that the character in the story directly is experiencing, but a lot of what she's saying about Earthseed and change and God and everything not being, it's not, change and freedom and security aren't like different from each other. They're also not the same thing. It's a very delicate balance to be able to understand and view the world in a way that makes sense, in a way that's proper for when the whole situation's fucked and for when things are going well, in a way that helps you develop empathy. And I really like that feeling that you get from Cowboy Bebop. The Spike talks about, like, he goes through life as if he's already dead. He lives life like he's a ghost, which means life is a dream, but it's a dream that he's living. And when he dies, does he wake up from the dream, or does he keep dreaming? And I like to think that what he means is we're always dreaming. It's never more real or less real than what's in your head, but that is the most real and most unreal thing that we have. What does that mean? I have no idea, but I look forward to finding out more Thanks for hanging. Much love. And I'll catch y'all on the flip side. Deuces. Oh, one for the roadie.